Terry Jones asked me a year ago, and we had a commitment to be in Canada to film a fishing show, and I couldn't make it. He said, you know, you're going to be sorry that you missed it. And when we're done, it's all for one reason. It's all for the warriors, it's all for the veterans, and I want to take my hats off to the guys here that have put their time in. They have served this country, whether it's in the past or in the future.
Every chance I get, there's a place I go where the bass are biting as the sun hangs low. There's a feeling I get that I hope will never end. On a deep, clear lake or an Ozark stream, I kick back, relax, and I start to dream about what Mother Nature has waiting around the bend. Hey, Larry and Bob will take me there today. My gear's packed up and I just can't wait to get out on my way. Outdoors in the heartland is like coming home to an old friend. That city life is not for me. There's fun as far as I can see. The great outdoors is where I want to be. Outdoors in the heartland.
Your Quality Ford dealers present Outdoors in the Heartland with Bob Richardson and Larry Woodward. Outdoors in the Heartland is brought to you by Ford and your Quality Ford dealers. Strike King, #1 in fishing lures. Triton Boats, we take America fishing. Yamaha, reliability starts here. Lowrance, we lead, we find, you win.
Well, he's not very big, but I had to put that buzzbait on. Just back bays like this, shallow, warm water. Not what we're looking for, but it's a bass. You know, one thing when you catch them out of this dirty, stained, almost muddy water, you'll notice how light the colors is on them. What we're doing today is pre-fishing for the Fishing for Freedom tournament being held here in Quincy, Illinois this weekend. And what an event that they have put on. I'm gonna put this little guy back. But a good friend of mine, Terry Jones, has for 2 years tried to get me to come up here and get involved in this, and everybody has come up here and fished and taken some of these veterans and some of these active military guys and some of these actually wounded warrior guys has had such an incredible weekend. So many hundreds of people have donated their times and services, and you know, when I say that, you know, the guy right in the back of the boat when we talk about donating time and service is a retired colonel from the United States Marine Corps, and happens to be Bob Wilson. He's fishing with me in the back of the boat. Hasn't caught anything, but we just got in here, and like I said, we're just trying to really figure it out. They're talking maybe 2 inches of rain today, could really dampen things, but you know, the great thing about this tournament is you can catch just about anything you want to catch. We're largemouth bass fishing. If you catch a crappie, you catch a gar, you catch a drum, you catch a catfish, they're going to weigh it in, and an event that will be held tomorrow is going to be quite an opportunity for me. I'm proud and excited to get involved and invited to such an event.
Fish on. It's a big one. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get him in the boat. Oh my God! Look at the size of that monster.
You know, probably the good news in the tournament tomorrow, Mr. Wilson.
This will count.
Colonel?
This will count.
You can take that into the weigh-in. Yeah, it's crappie, it's bass, catfish, just about anything you want.
He's smiling at you.
The good news, he's not real big. Never good in practice to really catch a big fish. That's usually bad luck. Now what do we got? That is a flathead that has pulled right up on these rocks. And usually a little later on is when they show up, but woohoo! This could end up as quite the smorgasbord. That is absolutely the perfect eating size. And tomorrow, he'd be going back to the weigh-in in Quincy. I'd like to say that they're getting bigger, but I just seen him jump. He ain't much of a fish. You know, Mark Twain this year has been putting out some really good stringers of fish. You know, 5 fish weigh almost 20 pounds, 4-pound average, a lot of 2.5, 3-pound fish. But that guy there, well, it's going to take him a couple more years. But you know, that's the thing, good thing about practice. Sometimes you don't want to really catch a big one, but you kind of like to know what these fish are doing. So that's why practice sometimes they say makes perfect. If you catch a 4 or 5-pound fish today, well, that's probably not a good deal. I don't know, I'd take one.
Welcome back to Outdoors in the Heartland, now in our 20th season, brought to you by Scent Blocker, the advantage of intelligence, Tree Spider, the new world of tree stand safety.
Well, one of the first things we're going to do tonight is registration. You know, this is all about the armed service guys, the veterans, the guys. We'll see guys in uniforms tonight, but they've got it pretty well organized and set up, and this is going to be a pretty cool event tonight. Look at him. He's ready to sign up. He's big time. Beautiful Mark Twain Lake. Right here in the midst of Missouri, we've got a bass tournament going on. Actually going out of Quincy, Illinois. It's Fishing for Freedom. That's right, and the guys are fishing on 2 locations here at Mark Twain Lake, and some of the guys chose to go to the Mississippi River, and a lot of them are fishing Pool 19. Now this tournament, what's it all about? It's all about fun. That's right, it's all about catching fish. The tournament weigh-in is a little unusual. The bass that we're going to catch, which is only a 3-fish limit, we're going to catch them here at Mark Twain, hopefully. The DNR actually would not allow us to haul the fish out of the lake, transport them to Quincy. So what they're doing a weigh-in here, give us a weigh-in slip, and off to Quincy we go. You know, the Fishing for Freedom is what an incredible package they have put together. They brought veterans together, they've got active servicemen, they've got wounded warriors. You know, we had an opportunity to go to the banquet last night, and even in the first impression when I pulled up the trucks, the boats, the wraps, the trailers, the marquees, and once we walked into the convention room, well, the fun was just about to start. But talking about starting, I'm going to see if I can catch a fish right here on Outdoors in the Heartland. Fighting and fishing for freedom is what we're going to do today. I'm going to fight with the veteran in the back, and I'm going to fish for the freedom of maybe getting first place.
Welcome back to Outdoors in the Heartland, now in our 20th season, brought to you by the Whitetail Institute of North America. Deer nutrition is all we do.
There's one.
Holy smoke.
Nice one, too. Coming up.
No, he's not.
No, there he is.
Lift him up, lift him up. Now you read the rules.
What?
Now look, I told you there was going to be fighting going on in the back of the boat. Now he's trying to stick me.
I think it's a nice little bass. I know it's not going to make 15. He's got that right there in this thick part of his jaw.
Yeah, that fish is probably about 13 3/4 inches.
Yeah.
Good job. You know, we did get an opportunity to go out yesterday, and you know, in this kind of bass fishing, it's called pre-fishing. You just want to go out and you kind of want to check out the waters. We run down the other end of the lake, got into a monsoon rain. Been doing this for the last 20 years on TV. Fished probably the last 40 years. One thing, I'm usually pretty organized, got good rain gear, and I have to say I got good rain gear, but it's in my garage at home, so I was literally soaked yesterday. The other end of the lake, the problem we have is they've had so much rain here at Mark Twain, it kind of flows this way, the dam's over here. The lake had really muddied up down there. Caught a few small fish, but so we decided to fish more on this end of the lake right where the takeoff is. So we'll see how that works out for us. Here we go, fish on, get the net. Long, skinny, but I don't think he's gonna make 15 inches. That's coming. Strike King spinnerbait smoke. Double hooked him. He ain't big enough. Whew, come on. Well, we've kind of changed up. We was fishing, started off this morning fishing deeper water, and that was my plan. We seen a good friend Terry Jones, which has helped put this tournament on and supports it and got me involved in it. Him and his partner come by. They've got 3 fish, and that's what the limit is on bass, 3 fish in your live well. And as you can see, he's a veteran from the Navy. I guess he's used to being around the water. You know, I was asked to speak, you know, and it wasn't about me. It wasn't about the TV show. It was all about the veterans, the guys that have served our country. And I was pretty proud to be able to say that I had Mr. Colonel Robert Wilson with me, and he's in the back of the boat today. And he was one of the small groups of guys that was up there that got certificates that served in Vietnam. And that was a pretty cool, I was pretty proud of him. He did a great job. At the end of it, we all got to walk up there, shake hands with him, not only him, but some of the other Vietnam veterans. And Bob, you made what, 1 tour or 2 tours in Vietnam?
Bob, I got to Vietnam in December of '66. In fact, I got there on Christmas Eve. What a Christmas present. And the normal tour duty for a Marine was 13 months. And then I ended up extending my tour for 6 more months. So I left there in late August, early September of '68. In fact, I left a few days early because my grandfather was killed in an automobile accident back in Pennsylvania, so I came home for that. And did a couple of more months there and finally got out of the Marine Corps and went back to college. Went through OCS and then the basic school. And then I was assigned to a rifle platoon with my company, 3-9, and we got involved in the evacuation of Vietnam back in '75. So from being there in '66 through '68, I was there to see the whole thing go down the tubes. Brings back memories.
What was your feelings when you come back towards the people that knew that you had been in Vietnam?
Well, I think the feeling was that, you know, nobody understood what the war was about. Nobody understood what we were doing. And, you know, when I started college, I ran into a lot of people, because the war was still going on, who protested it, and they had not a clue, nor did they care about what was going on over there or the servicemen. All I know, it was a good time to go out and protest something.
You know, Bob, there was a lot of highlights last night, but to honor and respect not only you, but the guys that served in Vietnam, probably the most unusual thing was a little young kid. He's considered, I guess, a young Marines group, Cody Jackson.
Yes.
Holy smoke. Here's an 11-year-old kid. Since the age of 4, his grandfather came back from Vietnam, told all the stories about calling him baby killers and stuff like that there, and protested his grandfather. The young man got on a mission, hard to believe at 11 years old, has his own .com, raises money. Let's pick it up with Cody. He did a little interview. What a great young man this guy is. You know, the great thing about an event like this, we're gonna meet a lot of great people. You know, a lot of the guys from the services, but you're not gonna meet many guys like the young man I've got here, Cody Jackson. And Cody, when he was 4 years old, started a program that is pretty exciting. His dad has got him involved in this, and the money and proceeds from a book you've been writing, is that correct?
I've written 2 books.
2 books. Now, how old are you?
I'm 11.
And when did you start this?
I've been doing this for 7 years, and I started when I was 4 years old.
4 years old. The money from the proceeds from these books, or what's going on with that?
It's to teach kids how to be patriotic, but all the money I get helps to buy the stuff to go into the package to send to the troops overseas.
From talking to your dad, almost 7,000 pounds, is that correct?
Yes, sir. Almost over 8,000 pounds.
This week you're going to make a special trip to Washington, D.C.
Yes, sir. I've been invited to go to the Pentagon and go to Sergeant Major Battaglia's office.
You are quite the young man. I'll tell you what, you know, we talk about the people that have served us, the people that are currently serving us, but this is a young man, there's no doubt.
that will be one of these warriors that's going to protect us from a lot of the bad things that happen in this country, isn't it? Again, I want to take my hats off to you. This is probably one of the most exciting events that I've seen at the show, is seeing somebody like you that stands for it and is on a mission to protect this country and is doing something about it. So again, thank you very much, and I bet you have an exciting trip next week to Washington, D.C. The Pentagon, wow. I don't know anybody who's been to the Pentagon. We came in here, started this morning right off the bat up on this old road bed, and it's basically an old road bed before the lake was ever flooded and come out. And it's asphalt, and over the years that asphalt's kind of breaking up in chunks, and there was trees on each side. Right now we're sitting pretty well on the top of it, and it goes off to about 20 foot that way, and then it kind of tapers out off the road, drops back into 30, and off the very end of it, that drops into probably 50 foot of water back behind me. So these fish move up here. What I like to do is when there's current, when they're pulling water at the dam, these fish just really do stack up on here. And like I said, I probably haven't been up for 8 or 9 years, but as I drag it now, I can just kind of feel that asphalt. Over the years, it deteriorated and broke down. It's still there. And then when you get to off the road itself, like I said, you got stumps, and most of the trees used to be standing in here, but over the years they've weathered and they're gone. But it's just a place that I don't catch a lot of fish, but it's a place to catch a good fish.
There's one. Nice one, too.
Good job. Good fish, Mr. Wilson. Colonel's smoking.
Get him in the live well.
We just pulled up here. Carolina rigging, the wind's blowing the boat. The fish actually got the bait and swallowed it. And what I've learned to do is, again, I carry this please release me. Works extremely well. Instead of taking the hook out at this point, let the fish calm down and just cut the line, left the hook in it. Released a lot of fish over the years that have had hooks in them, and they will dissolve and come out, but that's a really good fish. White bass.
White bass.
Might put it in the boat. A different species.
We're not going to keep this, are we?
Yeah.
All right.
I guess it's like at any species tournament. That's a species. Well, as you can see, some of the boats are starting to come in. We have to be off the water by 12 o'clock. We've got about 11 minutes to find my last cast. But, you know, Bob kind of saved the day. One good fish, one's probably about 4. Some of the guys we've talked to has got one of the guys got 3, but their 3 don't probably weigh 4 or 5 pounds. You know, so we just, like most tournaments, you always one short or need one bigger. But it was a pretty tough day. You know, got one white bass. You know, they call that the category under trash fish, and I'm gonna make Mr. Colonel make that decision whether he wants to weigh a trash fish in or not. But I will say the other fish he's got's a 4-pounder, and we put some chemicals on him. We think he's gonna hold up all right. He's gonna live through this thing, and he'll live to be caught another day. But I think right now we're gonna go to commercial break. We're gonna pay some bills. When we come back, we're gonna be at the weigh-in right here at Highway J Boat Dock at Spalding. Right after this, Outdoors in the Heartland, fishing for freedom.
This segment of Outdoors in the Heartland has been brought to you by Mossy Oak. It's not a passion, it's an obsession. Welcome back to Outdoors in the Heartland, now in our 20th season, brought to you by Ford and your quality Ford dealers. Strike King, #1 in fishing lures. Triton Boats, we take America fishing. Yamaha, reliability starts here. Lowrance, we lead, we find, you win. And Gilbreth's Taxidermy, the official taxidermist of Outdoors in the Heartland.
Got in there, young man? Somebody said you got a big fish. Holy smokes. Look at this. Yep. This may be our new big bass for the day.
You want to bump that one, do you?
Exactly. You can't figure it out.
5.3.
Bye.
Can you hold that up for him?
What is it?
All right.
Good job. Hold that out there. Proud of that thing. Get that hand off that belly. We're going to show you how to hold these fish. There you go. Well, we got to get it back in the live well. Good job. There's your paperwork.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
Good job. When we headed to the weigh-in, we knew that there was going to be some fish weighed in. I don't care how tough fishing is, there's always somebody that's in the right place at the right time. But you really never know till you get all the boats lined up, you get them to the scales, and then you sit back and watch boat after boat. In this particular tournament, it was bass and it was crappie. There was a few catfish probably going to be weighed in, but it was all about the camaraderie and hanging out with some good friends, the fun of fishing in a tournament, along with the money that was raised that was going towards one of the best causes you could ever think of. Now, once all the fish was weighed in, well, I have to say, they was going back into Mark Twain Lake. And now it was time to head to the ceremonies. Now, the guys at the Fishing for Freedom, well, these guys had basically put together a full meal deal. As all the competitors and boats headed back to Quincy, well, they was led by not only a police escort, but along with a motorcycle escort that basically caravanned them all the way back into downtown Quincy. Now, once in Quincy, well, that's where the party really happens. Of course, there was great food fresh off the grill. Hey, kettle corn, shaved ice, and heck, there was even a bounce house for the kids. You know, it really is important to me and for most of us not to forget how important it was for the support that we seen from the wives of these veterans that have served not only when they was off in active duty, but also since they've got home. Warriors' wives were even given necklaces to commemorate their efforts during active duty and their lasting support they offer the troops when they return home. Overall, this was one heck of an event put on by a lot of special people with one goal in mind: fishing for freedom.
So for my partner Larry Woodward, I'm Bob Richardson. We're going to see you somewhere next week right here on Outdoors in the Heartland. And I'll tell you what, we're going to be back here next year for the
Fishing for Freedom!
There you go.